Hi, welcome to the coaching game. Look who's here. It is the always wonderful Terry.
Terry Yoffe, and we are with creating coaches creating change. I am okay. I'm a little off today.
And I'm a
It's
little off, so
Monday.
this should be a great show. Yes.
Oh, I guess so. Coaches
But
creating change,
yes.
and I'm hoping that, or we're hoping that every month when we are on the air, that we do bring little snippets and tidbits for everybody to listen to, take what they want, implement them or not.
Right.
Oh, but we have a good time doing it.
We do, and we hope, we hope something of benefit comes out of it, even if it just
True.
like, oh, they're so wrong. I hate what
Well,
they said.
I don't know. Are we ever wrong? We may
Oh,
be
hardly
off a
ever.
little.
Hardly ever. Well, tonight we are going to utilize Terry's expertise and talents here. She had this fantastic webinar that she was doing. If you do want to do just a brief explanation of
sure.
what you were doing,
Sure.
and then we'll talk. We just picked out some of the stuff we really
Thank
liked.
you.
Yeah.
So I did a webinar in July, and I racked my brains out actually trying to think about what could I impart? What could I call it? And so I think I really based the title on my own experiences, which are if I'm moving ahead or I'm in situations, I'll always say, what's my plan B? Always, or plan C.
Yeah.
So that's just what I do. And so I entitled the webinar, Welcome to the New Normal. What's your plan B? And how are you going to move forward? And basically, I talked about where we are, what's going on in the business landscape, what's with everybody, the great resignation. And it's not that people are running away, they're rethinking where they're at, where do they want to go? Do they really need to climb that corporate ladder? Is it that important? And many other things along that way. And then went into a little bit about disruption, which we're in, and talked about the different areas that are being affected. And obviously what you can do or one can do during all of this. Because, the thing with disruption comes change. So here we are in the midst of
What's
change.
interesting is change could precede disruption or what is the other word? Go follow it, but whatever. It's like it's disruption is all around, but change is going to happen one way or
That's
another,
right.
like it
And
or not. Yeah.
that's right. Absolutely. And what I think we've said is we have, and I tell my clients, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. These are the times of being uncomfortable because there is no real roadmap. Maybe there will be, but it's, when we think about, Laurie, office, what are people going to do? Are they going to go back to the office? Is it going to be 100%? Is it going to be total remote? Because companies are rethinking their footprint. Do we need them? Are they going to close up? And then people are working remotely, which in a lot of ways is not great for people because they want to have this social interaction. Or is there going to be a hybrid? Nobody knows that. People I know, clients I know, we're going to go back in the fall, not going back till January. And they don't know what that's going to look like. Nobody knows what it's going to look like. So it's change, and we have to be comfortable being in this place of not knowing, yet moving forward and, doing what you need to do, being resilient and looking out and making your plans, and if need be, pivoting to something else. So staying flexible, adaptable, not being stubborn. And this is where I am. It's a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset.
Yeah, and when you say people don't know when they're going back, how they're going back, they don't even know to what they're going back. It's like, who knows, everything has changed. You and I, we haven't even talked about it yet. The studio's kind of open to tape our shows, but not our studio. So when it's open, are we going back? We don't know, this is working, but I'd still love to see you. So in person and
Right.
have that dynamic. So yeah, it's with a growth mind and a flexible mind. Definitely, you got to keep it flexible because
Right,
things
right,
change every
exactly.
day.
Versus a
Yeah.
fix, which is you're
Yeah.
set in your ways, you're not doing any, that is distinction. That is,
Yes.
you're gonna go out with the dodo bird. If you think about that type of mindset, it doesn't exist for people that want to move forward, that are opening the lens to life and to what's in front of them.
You know what? You made me think of something. So if there is no roadmap, and if we're not sure of what the future is, what good is, and how do we plan? What kind of plans can we make that don't involve, oh, I'm going to be working in the corner office and I'm going to be working Monday through Friday, because you don't know what you're going to be doing. So what kind of plans can you be making?
I think it's all fluid. It's got to be fluid.
I
I think you can make plans to do whatever you're going to do and be willing to pivot at any given moment. So, I'm not sure companies are planning 10 years out anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe they're planning a year. Maybe they're planning 6 months. But I'm not sure anyone's going, oh, let me look 10 years down the road.
Yeah, here's our 10-year
No,
plan.
I
That's not
think
going to
people say,
happen.
let me look 1 month down the road. Let me look 6 months. Let me see what's going to happen by the end of this year, which is 3 months, 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Hard to believe. And then what am I going to do next year? It was, companies were all set to bring people back to work. And then all of a sudden, whoop, not going to happen. So that's the new normal.
And then if you go back to work, and if you're in New York City, you got the whole vaccination thing. And if you don't get vaccinated, can you go back to work, et cetera? So what I was thinking was, if you really can't, if there are no plans, so to speak, if you really can't, then maybe it's requiring, and I'm thinking, wow, coaches are going to come in handy here. Maybe it's requiring a lot of personal work. It's a lot of staying healthy, because God knows that's been our mission for the last year and a half.
You're right.
Just stay healthy if we can. But also what you were talking about, like creating a growth mind, it's like creating a mind that is a little more flexible, giving up some ideas that just, you've spent your whole life saying, this is the goal. It's like, maybe it's not. So, and creating that flexibility that we keep talking about, that's going to be needed.
That's a whole different mindset, the growth mindset, flexibility. I think a lot of people, and maybe that's changed given the last 18 months, whereas people have a comfort zone. I've got a job, I go to it, I get a paycheck, I'm there at 9, I leave it, or I'm there at 7, whatever it is. They have they're settled. They know where they're going, and it's structure. I'm a structure person. I like structure. These days, structure doesn't, that's why I'm saying it's all fluid. Nobody knows the structure. Companies, yes, of course they're going to continue as they have. They're going to move, they're going to grow, they're going to do what they need to do to survive, that's for sure. It's the people that have to become to their work fluid, not knowing, a boss may say, gee, we're going to do hybrid next year. And then next year, you know what? We've seen everyone can work remotely. We're doing well. Sales are up, business is up. I don't need to spend $100,000 a month on footprint. Done. Bye. You can work from home. And if you want, maybe you can come in we're going to downsize our space. One thing, they're going to reassess their businesses. Do we need all these people, or do we need more people?
Right.
So that's being reassessed. So we're in a place of assessment and reassessment. Just my thinking. And
Oh, I totally agree with you. And I think employers are thinking, and businesses are thinking, one, there's a supply shortage, and that's a result of the pandemic. And two, there's a worker shortage. It's just, I was
exactly.
recently in Maryland and at a resort area where summertime, the kids are just coming in and they're dying to work. Every place that we went to had a help wanted sign. So there, people, the demand is there, but it's all a dance now. It's like, how I don't have what I need. How can I get what I need? How can I maintain what I have? It's just, yeah, it's a whole different game, that requires,
Yes.
like you said, flexibility, growth, pivoting, the whole thing. It's just, there are so many questions up in the air. And I think what you and I are trying to do is just make people be comfortable with that. It's like, this is how it's going to be, maybe forever, maybe for a while. But so how do we get
Right.
comfortable outside our comfort zone? Oh, that's interesting.
Well,
How do we
yeah,
get comfortable? Yeah.
there's got, you know what? A comfort zone has to come from within. You
Mm,
have to be, in my opinion, because out there, unless you're living at home and you're in an environment that and you can pay the bills, that's a comfort zone. If you've got the monies to pay for your apartment and food and all these survival necessities, that's a comfort. And that
definitely.
is what one should be working off of in a way. It's going back to the business. It's an employee marketplace. They get to make the demands. Companies have raised their people's salaries, hourly wages. They want to keep and get good talent. They have to up their game. They have to look at their corporate culture. They look at how they're being. Employees want benefits. They want emotional compensation. They want to be emotionally heard and seen. This is very important. And companies that are still toxic and not doing well by their employees, they're going to leave if they can. And they're going, many jobs available, you're right, in every industry that they can find that. So it's an employee marketplace right now.
Finally, I mean, the pandemic did what Congress couldn't. They raised the minimum wage. They're starting to think about employers. They're starting to redefine essential. I understand that the something that I just heard. The main major shortage problem is truck drivers, because although the stuff is there, if you don't have someone to get it to where it's going, it doesn't count. So
That
who would think that was going to be the main thing that's going to hold up the economy? But it is. And good for them. Maybe they'll get some more money too, or at least some more respect and appreciation.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. I was in my grocery store and I couldn't find vitamin water anywhere in any of the stores I went to. And I finally asked one of the men there, what's going on? Are you not carrying it anymore? They said, yes, we are. Coca-Cola, I think, has vitamin water. There's a shortage of drivers,
Yeah.
truck drivers. They're sitting there, they're not driving.
It's so interesting, because you
yes.
don't think of the ramifications, but it just goes on and on and on and gets bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Right. There is a lot of, everywhere there's shortages in every, whether it's a retailer or, in the trucking industry or in any lower level jobs, they are looking for help.
Yeah.
And you better be a company that's going to accommodate and treat your people well. Or, you know what? I'll go elsewhere.
That's it. And
Well,
and we've all gotten, but in fact, we've all adjusted to I'm amazed at how much I use Amazon, and I'm so against it. But we've gotten used to just clicking on our computers. Stuff comes to our door. We don't need stores, it's that
Right,
occasional fun shopping thing is on there, but not like I used to. It's like, I can get it online. It's easier,
right. People don't
Yeah.
ever, as we've talked about, people don't ever have to leave their houses. If you're a hermit, it's good for you. You can get
Exactly. You could,
anything and everything delivered, anything.
it's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So one part of the fantastic webinar that you did was you had asked something about what have you learned about yourself over the past year, and how are you going to use that learning? So I'm going to throw that lovely question back to you, because I think that's something that we could all think about for a while. What have we learned this year?
But that's true. Each person had a year to reflect, obviously part of what's going on, and think about what did they learn? What were the challenges
Mm,
that they didn't know they could rise up to and handle, whatever they were? What strengths came out that you were surprised about? Um, you know, what about vulnerability? We were all vulnerable. How did we
yeah.
use it? Um, you know, I gave examples of myself. What strengths did you become aware of? Well, I got to do some podcasts and some webinars. We're taping our TV shows. I'm talking to people over Zoom. Oh, we had to dig deep to come up with what did we learn about ourselves, because that's what's going to get us through.
Absolutely. And that's
That's
funny
it.
because the first thing that when I saw your question, the first thing I answered was I learned to sharpen my communication skills, because
Okay.
you take for granted, oh, I'll straighten it out when I see them. Nah, you might not see them, So you gotta sharpen up your skills. And people who have been on Zoom for the first time, I'm sure they feel they've sharpened up their skills. So that was one thing. Yeah. Did you have anything else?
Um, Certainly getting accustomed and comfortable on Zoom. People didn't do that. You met in person, you had drinks, you had lunch, you had breakfast, you saw people at the water cooler,
Yeah.
and didn't have to, like you said, communicate and do work interact over Zoom or, Microsoft or, whatever, whatever, whatever you did. So it was learning your technical skills. If you weren't good at it, how did you work with that? How did communication skills, upping the game. So we all learned a lot, that now is the time to put these strengths, challenges, vulnerabilities into play, because those are our arsenal
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
how we can move forward.
And those are the different tools. It's almost like you had a toolbox and you thought you had pretty much everything you knew, of what you needed, and now it's like, oh, here's a screw that I haven't seen with a funny top. How am I going to adapt to that?
Exactly.
How am I going to fix that? Or wow, I've never seen that before. What tool can I use? Maybe I have to create my own. Speaking of boxes, that was one of the things. You learn how to think out of the box, which is a favorite coaching phrase, think out of the box. But you learned how to do it. It's like, well, how am I gonna get groceries if the grocery store is closed? Or how am I gonna get from here to there if I don't want to be on public transportation? It's just, you think out of the box. It's like, I hope that everybody sharpened their creativity, or at least use it more. Because this was a perfect time. It's like, I don't know, how are we going to do this?
You're
And
right.
that goes back to your vulnerability by just simply saying, I don't know. I've never done this
Right.
before.
For me, I put down creativity,
Hmm.
learning to cook. I didn't have a choice. I never really cooked. And
Yeah.
delivering food, I didn't know who was going to be touching it, what was that. And when we did had delivery, it wasn't that up to par. So I started cooking. And that's what I did. I now cook. I became a cook.
There
And
you
when my
go.
husband tells people, they go, what? I hear you've learned to cook. You know,
There you
it's
go.
like, yes, I have. On
You
me.
had fun. You had fun doing it.
That's
So
right.
that's good. That's
So, and I
good.
walked a lot. I took a lot of walks.
Mhm.
So I found way, and I actually loved the city. No one was around. You
I
could
know.
walk up and down the streets.
Yeah.
There's a comfort, there was a comfort in the quietness of it. And yet I would go by the hospitals
Mm.
and I would see, especially one, the coal trucks out back of one hospital where there was a
Yeah.
front and a back and the white canopy where nobody saw them taking the bodies out of the hospital.
Yeah.
So there was a lot for me and hoping for others, a lot to take in, a lot to appreciate,
Mhm.
and a lot to feel the depth of what was going on.
Yeah.
So,
And
you know,
so one of your great questions was, well, what can I do to overcome my fears? It's what, and I'm wondering what techniques you have. I know some of the things that I do, but what
okay.
techniques do you have to just say, oh, I'm afraid, but
Well, what some of the things I wrote down was take small steps.
Mm,
Don't look to conquer everything. These
yeah.
are some of the things I offer to people. Talk to other people in your industry. Find out what's going on with them. If you have clients, find out what's wanted and needed. What do they want? What do they need? Again, it's communication is key. Talk to
Mhm.
your employees, or employers. Ask them or tell them and communicate. This is what's going on. I want to let you know, or if you're an employer, so Terry, what's going on with you? How connection. So communication and connection
Right.
is really important. And if you're a leader, how do you show up as a leader more? Think outside of, the fear factor.
Mhm.
Get beyond that, put that on the side. Look at the positives, look at what you can do. So the fear factor becomes a little smaller. Also, what are core values? How are you showing up with them? And I think it's more about, which I said, trusting yourself. Those are some of the things that I put out there for people to look at.
One thing that I told my clients was, okay, I want you to make a list of everything that you've survived, because with nothing, if nothing else is a given, if you have made it to this point, you survived. You survived. God only knows what, a
Right,
lot of
exactly.
stuff. So write it down, and then that should eliminate some of your fear, because oh my gosh, look what I've done already.
Exactly.
I almost there's so many times I end a conversation with talking to a neighbor, talking in the elevator, just like they'll talk about, oh, blah, blah, blah. I go, yeah, but we're still here to complain about it. So it's good. It's like,
Exactly.
so you're still here. And
Right.
I keep reminding people of that. You have come a long way, baby, as the old cigarette
That's
ad used
right.
to
And,
say,
and
and
right.
with more to come, but you gained a lot of skills, like you said, while you were doing it. I also reminded everybody, and myself included, that everybody's fearful now. Nobody is going calmly through
Exactly.
and saying, oh, I got this covered. Nobody had it covered. Nobody knew what the
Absolutely
heck you
not.
were talking about.
No.
So that fear factor is like you're saying, a connection, a bonding, a sharing of vulnerability. We're all afraid. We're all uncertain. But we're all here and we're all getting through it one way or another. So
That's very true.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. It's, walking them off the ledge, if you will. And I think the biggest thing
Not
is
walking, talking.
talking, right?
Don't walk them off the
Exactly.
ledge. That's
Talking them
not
off
nice.
the ledge. Thank you. Thank you. But it's also being grateful. And every
Yeah.
day, every night, I am grateful for, and
Ah,
really let that sink in with people, that they have a lot to be grateful for. You're right. We're still here.
mhm. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So what strategies, these are your questions. I'm asking you your questions back. What strategies do you have for keeping up motivation and self-preservation, you know?
Oh, gosh. To keep, so I think some of the things was take a break.
Mhm.
If you're working from home, take a lunch break, meet a friend, a real friend, go
Yeah.
out, connect with people. Um, if you're on Zoom a lot, who can you have dinner with even on Zoom? Who are some of your friends?
Yeah.
Make a night, a date night with your friends. Come with wine, come with dinner, and just sit around and chat.
Mhm.
There's lots of things you can do. One of the things I think I talked about was mentor someone.
Oh, I like that
Mentoring
idea.
is a great way to pay it forward. You're doing something for someone and you're feeling good about yourself.
Yeah, I love that idea. That's it. Well, and that's what they always say. If you're feeling down, go help somebody else. Go, you
Right.
know, and that will restore whatever you got. So I guess that's the same thing that works in mentoring. I really like that idea. I think you and I both utilize walking. It's like, okay, there's a nice quiet city. Let's go walk in it now. So
Right.
that just to get away from the constant bombarding of the computer and things that you can't control and things like that. Just take a
Right.
walk. Take a walk.
And be creative. There's lots of
Yeah.
things you can do to feel good, to move forward, to think you're doing something, to get through it, that you can motivate yourself.
I
Whatever
like
it is.
to I like to create games, you know, if I'm really bored and I'm going, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. It's like, well, how many emails can you answer in half an hour? You know, or how many people can you contact? How many contacts can you list? You know, and you did 10 yesterday. Let's do 20 today, and just create a game. Make everything a game,
Exactly.
if you can, just to
Exactly.
have a little fun.
Right. That
Yeah.
was one of the things. Get people together. If you love talking about something like skiing, or if you have a common,
Right.
common denominator, or if you play cards or you play chess, get together with people, even if it's online, if you have to. Now you can go out more, but if some of the people you know are on Zoom, something like that.
Yeah, there's many interactive games on you know, like
Mhm.
Scrabble and things like that. There's ways to do it, or just, you know, treat yourself to your favorite beverage, you know, for just to do something. Say, okay, I'm important and I got to keep this going here, and I need a switch. I need some clean air. You got 30 seconds. Do you believe
Oh,
that?
wow.
I
Yeah,
know.
I'm gonna quickly, very quickly, before we say goodbye, what Rahm Emanuel said, you should never let a good crisis go to waste.
Oh my gosh, I love
It's
that.
an opportunity to do things you thought you could never have done, and it's about change. So
I could not leave anybody with better words than that. How perfect is that? Beautiful, beautiful.
thank you for today. Thank you, Laurie. It's
Thank
all about
you.
change.
And we will be back in 2 weeks.
Well,
So
we
thank you,
will.
Terry Yoffe.
Thank you, Laurie Lawson.
Bye bye, everybody.